This time we're making a roast, and you can use whatever meat you like. I'm using a big thick slice of pork. You can use whatever you like as long as it's a big chunk of meat. And we are going to start with putting some oil here on the surface. I'm just going to pour it a little. Okay. It's probably a bit more than a little, but better than having it all dry in the end. And for condiments, well, you use whatever you like. I like a little bit of salt. Just going to put a little on. I also like a little bit of pepper on it. And then we have some thyme and some leelacooking. I'm not sure if I just pronounced that right. So this is one of them. And you can actually use a lot if you want. If you don't like these kind of condiments, or you want another kind of flavoring, if you want it a little bit more Italian, you use probably some basil or stuff like that. Okay, so this is one and the other. Now this looks like a lot, and it is, but actually it tastes really good. So what you can add in here, and that's purely optional, that's some garlic. And what I did was I just cut a few pieces of garlic into little slices. And we're not going to spread them on top, but we're actually sticking them in the meat. So what we do when we want to add the garlic into the meat, we have to cut in. Now, your knife can be as sharp as it wants. The meat is going to give in a little, and it's not really going to give you a hole. So you just lift it up a little. Make sure you're not going to cut yourself, and you basically just force a little hole in there. And to put your garlic in, leave the knife in, that's the easiest way, and just slide the garlic. And just a few more times. I'm going to show it a bit better like this. Just make sure you're not cutting yourself when you're sliding anything or when you're poking that hole. If you see the garlic, that's no problem. If you want to hide it, you just poke it in a little more, and the meat, while it's in the oven, the meat will just close itself up. So. Okay, and more. Now if you're asking yourself, is this a bone here? Yes, it is, because as I said, this is basically a huge pork chop. Don't worry if you poke right through the whole piece of meat. That's no problem. Your garlic will stick in the middle anyway. So now what I got, we already have everything as on here. Just to spread out the oil everywhere, just going over with my pink brush. Now I noticed while I was doing all this that some of the oil escaped, and so I'm just going to put some more on. Not a lot more, because there is basically a lot already. Just don't want to have the meat burnt or very dry, and the oil is going to help with that. Now before we transfer that into the pan, we also want to oil our pan, as we're going to put some vegetables and stuff in there. We really want it all nice and greasy. If you're using spray, use that. I'm just going to use the oil. You can also use butter. Just don't leave it ungreased. Even if you have it like I do as a Teflon pan, really put some oil in here. Okay. So now what you can do is you can put different vegetables in here, for example carrots or beans, peas, onion, whatever you like. I'm going to add in some onion and beans, and my husband asked for corn, so I'm also going to put in some sweet corn and onions. So first I'm going to cut an onion. It doesn't have to be perfect. Basically I'm just going to have some onion chunks in there that are giving a lot of taste, and so this is roughly the size that I'm going to have in here. You can eat it. If you don't want to, you also have no problem to pick it out. If you want to dice it and put it in little cubes so you can eat it easier, that's fine too. Just spreading it on the outside. Okay. Next I put the sweet corn. Fresh beans might actually be better for this one because they're not pre-cooked. These ones out of the can, they are always pre-cooked, at least a little. So it might get very moist, but on the other hand it's kind of like a sauce, so it's fine, I guess. Okay, so this is what it looks like for me right now. I'm just going to drip a few drops of oil on the outside here. As you see, this is, if you put your finger on top like this, don't punch it into the hole because then nothing comes in. But if you just put it here and leave a little gap, then you have really a really tiny amount coming out.